Today marks a significant step in the long journey to revitalize the Southampton Princess Hotel. Many of you followed this process closely when the development was first approved to proceed as an SDO in 2023. And you will recall the conversations that took place across the island. People care deeply about this property, and I understand why. It is a landmark, a major employer, and a symbol of the strength of our tourism sector. Let me start with something simple and clear. The SDO that we are releasing now is not a new approval. It is the same draft SDO that was discussed and agreed upon in 2023, but now refined and finalized. So the project can move forward with greater certainty. The goal remains the same: to bring the hotel back, to create jobs for Bermudians, to strengthen our tourism product, and to do so while safeguarding the character of the land and the surrounding community. The drafting process was a robust exercise involving significant input from the Department of Planning to advise the range of conditions to be added, which speaks to the environmental considerations, phasing of development, details of the public benefit components, i.e., South Road realignment, railway trail improvements, and the creation of more quality woodlands through conservation management plans and protected areas. Before I speak to the updates, I want to clarify what a special development order or SDO is and what it is not. An SDO is a tool used solely for large projects of national priority. Phases of this project will still be submitted as a planning application to the Department of Planning for final approval. All conditions must be satisfied, and that aspect remains unchanged. With approval of the development to proceed as an SDO granted in 2023, work began on drafting the final SDO. In doing so, improvements were made to strengthen the document and make the timelines more realistic. The updates do not change the core aspect of the development. They enable the developer to work more efficiently while maintaining the hotel first rule. No residential units can be occupied until the hotel is fully reopened. That protection remains exactly as it was. Further refined, it was further refined so the developer can begin design work once the conservation management plan is approved, while still being required to complete all of the environmental commitments before later phases. This final version of the SDO also adds legal clarity by formally introducing the subdivision plan. Additionally, it enhances the standards for wastewater management, traffic controls, and public access to key areas of the property. I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge the concerns raised by members of the public. People want assurances that the environment is protected. They seek transparency. They want to know that Bermudians are benefiting more than it is given. These concerns are valid, and I do listen to them. This SDO addresses them with clearer rules, stricter conditions, and a structure that ensures the government remains in a strong oversight role. The development is expected to generate 1.4 billion in economic impact. As of October 2025, 641 individuals have worked on the project. Among them are 242 Bermudians or spouses of Bermudians and PRC holders, 324 new work permit holders on standard work permits, and 59 existing work permit holders already employed with contractors assigned to the project. Furthermore, 24 local companies have been involved in the project to date. This project has created genuine activity and real opportunities for Bermudians. But I'm not done yet. Fairmont Southampton currently employs 130 staff, and by the end of 2026, this number is expected to increase to approximately 450. Once the hotel is fully ramped up, I anticipate them employing close to 700 staff, and the government is committed to seeing them hire as many qualified Bermudians as possible. With that said, today is about balance: progress with protection, flexibility with accountability, and clarity at every stage. This SDO provides the necessary guardrails while allowing the work to continue so the hotel opens as planned. While I understand that many are eager for the hotel to reopen, I want to assure you that work at the hotel is progressing and expected to open next year on schedule. It is important to understand that this SDO outlines the parameters for the construction of the residential residences and not the building of the hotel itself. It is vital to get this right. Not rushed, not careless, but correct. Bermuda needs a robust tourism offering, and Bermudians should see the benefit of that success. With the finalized SDO now ready to be published and soon to be tabled in the House of Assembly, the next step is for the developers to submit planning applications for each phase. The public will be kept abreast of development and planning applications through ongoing public updates by the developer as we steadily progress towards reopening a hotel that has meant so much to many. Thank you, and I will be happy to take your questions.
Thank you, Minister Stefano Zenda from the Royal Gazette. And just you mentioned environmental commitments. Can you go into a little bit more detail about what those may be?
The environmental commitments, as I spoke, is a environmental impact study that must be done, and to the environmental impact study must be done to satisfy the planning requirements that are needed for this. And the environmental protections is to protect the areas up there that do require us to ensure that they remain intact and not disturbed by the construction.
And you mentioned that occupation of the long-term or the residential units outside of the actual hotel won't be occupied until after the building is complete. When are constructions of these units expected to begin?
Well, first of all, construction cannot begin until they get planning permission. And so that will determine when they can actually start. As I stated, the SDO is been finalized and will be signed and submitted to the House. And then the applications can be received with the Department of Planning. So I cannot begin to estimate how long it will be for. What I can do is double down on that the hotel must be opened and operating prior to any residential units being occupied.
And you mentioned that the hotel is on schedule to reopen in 2026. Can
Yes.
you specify maybe June, September, when specifically it's on target?
The hotel will be open in 2026.
You can't specify which month specifically.
As I said, the hotel will be opened in 2026. I believe that those dates are in the public arena already, and I do not want to preempt anything that the owners of the hotel may want to announce at a later date.
Okay, thank you, Minister.
Sure.
Good afternoon, Minister.
Good afternoon, Gary.
Just you noted that the SDO has been refined. Can you clarify at all if anything has changed? Essentially, when you say refined, has anything at all changed in terms of the number of the number of units being built, the land from the revised SDO? Any change to the amount of land?
No, there is no change.
So when you say refined, what do you mean?
It has been finalized. The original SDO was written, and it was still being discussed with the Department of Planning. And as I said in the statement, with extensive conversations with the Department of Planning, it was refined, it was finalized, and now it's ready to be signed into law.
Okay, so from what we can find on the Department of Planning website, in terms of the environmental things that they're doing, the land that they're putting aside to be reserved to be protected, no changes in that whatsoever.
There are no changes in that. And once the SDO is properly signed and submitted to the House of Assembly, it'll become public. It'll become into the public domain, and then you'll be able to read exactly what it talks about within the SDO.
And it's being tabled again when?
This Friday.
This Friday, so we'll be able to see that this week. Employment for Bermudians has been touted as a benefit of this project. The majority of workers on this project are non-Bermudian, but of the 242 Bermudian spouses of Bermudians or PRC, how many are full-time on this project?
That's a question that would have to be for the contractors on it. We've asked for that. I'm going to go on a limb and assume that the bulk of these persons are full-time and working on the project. But those final numbers would have to come from the developers of the hotel themselves. And I do want to add just a bit of a caveat there that has also been explained to me, that while we look at the numbers of persons that are there, when we look at the work permits, those are, from my understanding, specialized jobs that you cannot necessarily find that skill set locally.
Okay. And I wondered, obviously, you've mentioned about the commitment on going forward once the hotel is open for government to, they want the hotel to employ as many Bermudians
Mhm.
as possible. If that is the commitment that the government has, why is land tax relief in the tourism investment order, why is it only that land tax relief in the tourism investment order is tied to a percentage of Bermudian employment and not other aspects of the relief, such as customs duty?
Gary, I think a bit of clarification there. In order for a tourism order to be issued, and those savings or those tax relief incidences, it is a requirement, and it is written into the tourism relief order, the tourism relief act, that a certain percentage of persons must be employed by the entity that's getting the relief in order for that relief to still be extended. And so I'm not sure you're saying it's tied only to one thing.
It's
I
tied
believe
to
it's,
land
I believe,
tax
I
relief.
believe if we look at that, and my understanding is it's tied to all of the relief that you get in a tourism order, not just one specific thing.
Okay, well, I will go back to it and confirm, but as I understand, it's only tied to the land tax. However, I wondered, obviously, this has been quite a journey. We're nearly 2 years since former Minister Walter Rabain approved the SDO. It's been quite a journey with multiple objections from environmentalists. What do you say to the public who may still look at this project with concern?
Well, I'm a realist, and anyone that thinks that they're going to satisfy 100% of the people 100% of the time is not a realist. I understand that there's always going to be someone that sees something wrong with whatever it is that we do. But as the government, we need to move forward with projects like this that are for the benefit of us, that will benefit us all, and weigh the balances of not satisfying some things, but satisfying most things that need to be done. So for those persons, I would say continue to voice your opinion, and continue to make sure that your concerns are known, because they are taken into account. And you never know that when something might tweak. From my understanding, the conversations that are already taking place have led to some different thought processes on how some things could be developed up there. And so, but because that's in that delicate stage of negotiation, I can't really talk to that. But that is what I would recommend. Make your comments known, and those can be taken into account as we move forward. You may not get 100% of what you're looking for, but you might get 50%.
Thank you, Minister.
Sure.
Thank you all. I believe that concludes the question period here. Minister, the people of Bermuda, thank you for joining us here today, and have a great day. That concludes the press conference.
Thank you.